So today I had really sombering news yesterday. A local family who I've known many years have had some absolutely devastating news, and I'm going to keep this anonymous for confidentiality reasons and privacy reasons, but I can talk through my feelings about what's happened at this extremely tough time of the year for so many families. So yeah, keep watching, keep listening. Hopefully you'll find this helpful in some capacity. Welcome back to consecutive day 1671 of a diary of a Runpreneur. Today's topic is all about awful news, devastating news, and to make matters worse, around Christmas. And before I get into it, just remember that this is part of a fundraiser for Saving the Lives of Children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, distance for lap of the world, barefoot style. So do give this some engagement. The more people we get in front of, more money raise, and the more children's lives we save, which is why I do it every single day. So back to the topic at hand. As a family I've known for many years, and it's completely unfair to say that they've had their unfair share of health-related challenges. First and foremost, it's one member of the family who has been through a lengthy health scare and continues to recover, but the future has been very unsure for this individual. And then when it seems to be looking brighter for one member of the family, another comes down with a really sudden health-related issue, which ultimately this individual never recovered from. And the scary thing is the signs were good, signs were positive, but then on Boxing Day, a life was lost far too early. I think late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And I shed a tear yesterday for this. It's so unbelievably sad when there's a family involved, a very close knit family involved. They're also part of such a bigger, wider community, and are people who always, well, ever since I've known them, are completely selfless and will always put others before themselves. And just really, genuinely, amazingly decent people. And what part of life is fair to put this family in particular, who'd be, in terms of deservingly, if anybody is deservingly of this, and I would say that isn't the case, nobody deserves this type of struggle, heartbreak, and ultimately loss. But if it was to be assessed in that way, this family would be so far away from being deservingly of this. It would be untrue. And it just breaks your heart when some people just get appalling luck, appalling, we always say you can only play the hand that you're dealt, meaning is in a pack of cards, and referring to the analogy of a card game, and in this case the card game being life. And whatever cards you're dealt with, you can play them the best you can, but you can only play the cards that you're dealt. And in this instance, this incredibly unfair, devastating loss was part of the hand that this family were dealt, which just is so unfair. But then I suppose the only way you can kind of explain it and try and process it is that life isn't fair. It's never meant to be fair. Yes, you can influence things in certain ways, but in certain situations you've just been dealt a twist of fate which nothing could be done to prevent it. It's just going to happen, and whether it's fair or not, you have to try and process it and recover from it and deal with it, referring to the family and the people that are affected, let alone the person who has ultimately lost their life. And yeah, it's really hard to process, because so many of our minds are kind of created in a fact-finding, evidence-based, rational, logical way of processing information. And when you get something of this nature that cannot be explained or described, it just makes it so much harder to process. And I'm not going to kind of carry this on too much, because I need to talk about what I've learned from this experience, because times like this is like for me, somebody in the extended network of people affected by this loss. It is literally like a sucker punch. It took the wind out of my sails. You know, it literally floored me, thinking about the family in particular, and the person who lost their life, which is just so unfair. And I need to try and reflect and learn something from this myself, as I've always tried every day of my life since starting this challenge to have a learning from my diary. So ultimately, the learnings from my diary for today are that sometimes in life you just have to play the hand that you're dealt. And what we mean by that is referring for the card game analogy, the card game being life, and the cards that you're dealt are incidents, scenarios, aspects, people, whatever, all facets of your life. And some are good and great and amazing and give you joy, excitement, happiness, success. And other cards are just so dark and cold and negative and sad that they're just, you can't process them. Who on earth in their right mind would create a card like that? And in this instance today, where I talk about a family I've known for many years, one of the nicest, most amazingly decent families I've ever come across, families who epitomise the word selfless. They put others before themselves. I've never known them not to. Unbelievable people. So how in their right mind have they been dealt cards that have put them through the health, the turmoil, the loss that they've experienced, and especially around Christmas? I don't know, is my honest answer. The only thing I can learn from this whole experience is life is unfair. Some people, undeservedly so, will get all of the luck, all of the happiness, all of the joy that life can be so generous with. And then there'll be other people who deserve so much more, but just get dealt the worst of hands. And I suppose what we call that is fate. And fate isn't fair. Fate is ruthless. Fate is, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. You have to then choose how you deal with it, if you're lucky enough to get that choice. Because in certain twists of fate, they are incredibly final, like the loss of life. And that's ultimately what I've taken from it. Life is far too short for so many, and it's so precious as well. And the only thing that people say all the time, but it takes moments like this to actually truly reflect on it. You know, live each day like it's your last is a common, obviously that's to me a bit unrealistic, because if it was going to be your last day and you knew that was the case, you would have probably the craziest wild day possible. And obviously if you're not going to be dealt with a twist of fate where you lose your life and you lived every day like it was your last, you'd probably run out of money, you probably wouldn't have a house, you probably wouldn't have a family. There'd be lots of things that would come off the back of that. But taking out all sides of silliness, the actual statement remains true. Life is far too short, far too precious. So be incredibly grateful, incredibly thankful, and enjoy your life to the fullest that you can. Love the people you love, tell them you love them, build the relationships with people. Don't fester on feuds, because when grandfather clock of time, the alarm rings for you and your days are gone, then you can't change. You can't do anything about what you've left. So do that now. If you need to ring that person up, you need to tell that person you love them, you need to go and see that person, make sure they're okay, go and do it. Don't live with regrets. That's what this whole horrendous situation has taught me today. Now, time is also cruel because it dilutes the impact of a lesson learned. But I will try. I can only say I will try. And I will do it as best I can. And I'll continue to try and remind myself because it's really, really important. So that's it from me. Any questions or comments? Drop me a line or comment and I'll respond to everyone. Do remember that if you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style, do give this a subscribe, share, like, and comment. More people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.